Okay, good afternoon. Call this meeting to order of Assembly Budget Subcommittee number 2 on Education Finance. Please call the roll.
Mr. McCarty?
Here.
Mr. Chavez?
Here.
Ms. Kim?
Here.
Mr. O'Donnell?
Here.
Mr. Ting? Here. Quorum is established.
Okay, so we're going to begin with part 1 of the agenda. And of course, before we begin, I wanted to thank subcommittee members for joining with us this year. I think we've had 15 hearings, over 50 hours of hearings on this education finance subject matter. So appreciate all the input and looking forward to closing out our actions today. And certainly we're benefiting from an improved economy to further reinvest in all the items here that we think are important for California. So with that, we have a jumping around agenda, so try to bear with us. So we're going to start with part 1, agenda part 1, and the vote-only pieces, some of the miscellaneous pieces for library, UC, some of the higher ed segments, and then we'll get to the packages for the higher ed segments, and later on the Prop 98 piece and child care and early education last. So the first section is the California State Library, 3 issues: adult literacy, the broadband issues, and the preservation funding. And do I have a motion to move this package?
Second.
Okay, a motion and second. Please call the roll.
Mr. McCarty?
Aye.
Mr. Chavez?
Aye.
Ms. Kim?
Aye.
Mr. O'Donnell?
Aye.
Mr. Ting?
Okay, next, University of California, 4 items related to the capital outlay, the UC Labor Centers, the Health Benefit Review Program, and miscellaneous fund adjustments. Mr. Chavez.
I request just to pull out item 5, and I'd move approval of 4, 6, and 7.
Okay, first let's have a motion and a second for items 4, 6, and 7. Motion and a second. Please call the roll on those items.
Mr. McCarty?
Aye.
Mr. Chavez?
Aye.
Ms. Kim?
Aye.
Mr. O'Donnell? Aye. Mr. Ting?
Okay. Mr.
Move to approve issue 5.
Thank you. Second by Mr. O'Donnell.
Second.
Okay. Motion second. Please call the roll.
Mr. McCarty?
Aye.
Mr. Chavez?
No.
Ms. Kim?
No.
Mr. O'Donnell? Mr. Ting?
Okay. Thank you. Next, Hastings College of Law, capital outlay adjustments, issue 8.
Move approval. Move approval.
Motion and second.
Mr. McCarty?
Aye.
Mr. Chavez?
Aye.
Ms. Kim?
Aye.
Mr. O'Donnell? Mr. Ting?
Okay. Next, CSU, issue 9, capital outlay request, issue 10, Center for California Studies.
Move approval of issue 9. I'd like to pull out number 10.
Okay. Motion and second on motion on number 9. Second on issue number 9. Call the roll.
Mr. McCarty?
Aye.
Mr. Chavez?
Aye.
Ms. Kim?
Aye.
Mr. O'Donnell? Mr. Ting?
Okay, we need a second motion now for issue number 10, the Center for California Studies.
So moved.
Mr.
Second.
McCarty?
Aye.
Mr. Chavez?
No.
Ms. Kim?
No.
Mr. O'Donnell? Mr. Ting?
Okay. Next, California Community Colleges, issue 11, technical adjustments, issue 12, community college charter bill proposals, issue 13, veterans non-resident tuition clarification, issue 14, capital outlay adjustments.
Move approval of 1, 11, 12, 13, and 14.
Second that.
Okay, motion is second.
Mr. McCarty?
Aye.
Mr. Chavez?
Aye.
Ms. Kim?
Aye.
Mr. O'Donnell? Mr. Ting?
Okay. California Student Aid Commissions, Cal Grant, and other program funding adjustments, issue 15.
Move approval.
Second.
Mr. McCarty?
Aye.
Mr. Chavez?
Aye.
Mr. Kim?
Aye.
Or Mr. O'Donnell? Mr. Ting?
Chairman, may I add an additional comment to this issue?
Yes.
Not this one? Correction.
Okay.
You made
Okay.
my laugh.
Yes. Yeah, that's the next piece. Okay, issue 16, state authorization and student complaint process trailer bill. Issue 16 related to private institutions. Have a motion, issue 16?
Sorry. So moved. Second.
Okay, please call the roll.
Mr. McCarty?
Aye.
Mr. Chavez,
Not voting.
Ms. Kim,
Not voting.
Mr. O'Donnell, Mr. Ting.
Okay, now we're proceeding to page 2 of the Part 1 agenda. And we're going to hear now the UC package, which we probably spent 15 to 20 of those 50-plus hours. At least. And, this is certainly something that we put a lot of thought into. And it was a big priority of us to focusing on reprioritizing the University of California budget in ways that better serves California. Our package that we're going to move now will approve the May revised proposal from the governor with a few changes. We were suggesting provide additional $35 million extra funding for the University of California, where we want to see major enrollment growth in the next budget year. No growth in non-resident students the year after that. Working on closing the loophole with financial aid for non-residents, and working with UC to address funding for non-residents to support resident enrollment growth. Also calling on the administration for more administrative efficiencies and better transparency. And it's also summarized here in the agenda as well. So the package is on page, what page is it?
16 is the,
Yes.
19 and 20.
Page 19 and 20. So I'm looking for a motion to approve the UC budget package summarized on pages 19 and 20.
Move approval of the UC budget package.
Okay, a motion is second on this. Please call the roll.
Mr. McCarty,
Aye.
Mr. Chavez, Ms. Kim, Mr. O'Donnell, Mr. Ting.
Not voting.
Okay, next, the CSU budget package, page 21, issue number 2. Okay, CSU system. This is the CSU package, and it follows up on the Assembly's desire to fully fund the CSU system and fully fund enrollment growth. And this will allow us to add the 10,000 students to make sure we focus on serving the needs of all Californians wishing to go to the CSU system and focus on helping improve graduation efforts at the system. Is there a motion on the CSU package?
I'd like to make a motion that we did a lot of work on the CSUs. I'm going to support everything, but I was wondering if we could pull out the $500,000 for Channel Island and the language for regarding a new campus.
Language for what?
There's language in the bill for a new campus, a study of a new campus.
Sure. It's page 23 of the agenda. Right here. Okay.
Bullets number 3 and 4. We can
Yeah.
vote on
Okay.
everything else.
So essentially, bullets 3 and 4 related to the CSU Channel Islands, one-time monies, and the second piece, bullet 4, related to having the LAO work with the system to focusing on looking at potential new campuses for the system. So we have a motion to approve 4 of the 6 items on page 24 of the agenda, and we'll come back to the other 2.
Okay.
Moved.
I may make that motion to approve the items except those 2, and we'll come back to those later.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion is second on the whole CSU package, taking out the CSU Channel Islands and the CSU new campus report.
Mr. McCarty,
Aye.
Mr. Chavez,
Aye.
Ms. Kim,
Aye.
Mr. O'Donnell, Mr. Ting.
Okay.
I'd like to move to approve bullets 3 and 4, the add budget bill language bullet, as well as the adopt trailer bill language regarding LAO's office to work with CSU on initial license to assess potential need for new campuses.
Okay, great. Motion and second, those two items?
Mr. McCarty?
Aye.
Mr. Chavez?
No.
Ms. Kim?
No.
Mr. O'Donnell? Mr. Ting?
Okay, next is the California Student Aid Commission and the Assembly Financial Aid Package. Also a top priority of this subcommittee, focusing on how we could increase access to higher education through financial aid. Certainly, we're proud of the efforts to hope to increase the Cal Grant B awards to help low-income students with living expenses, increase the number of competitive Cal Grants, something that a big priority. We know that only 1 in 17 eligible students actually get the award, so this would a little bit over double the amount of awards available. The Middle Class Scholarship Act, in its year 2, we know that it's been going well. A lot of families are benefiting from this. Like many new programs, there are issues to work out and iron out some of the issues, and so we have some cleanup here to make it a more well-rounded and better-run program. And we're going to focusing on the Cal Grant awards for private schools and institutions, and lastly, reinstitute the Apple program to help bring more people into the teaching profession in California. Do I have a motion on this financial aid package?
I would like to, I'll be moving this and supporting it because, as you just said, and I agree with you, this is critical to our students. But I'd also like to note that in the private nonprofits, they serve more minorities than any of the institutions that receive these Cal Grants. So I would like to add additional funding to restore Cal Grants for students attending private nonprofit institutions to pre-recession levels.
Okay.
Could we have two separate motions then? Or
Okay, we can do two separate. Sure.
Sure. Okay. So the first, substitute motion by Mr. Ting to move the package.
would you want to? So we're going to just move the package.
Move to move the package.
Okay.
And second.
Ready? Okay. Items bullets 1 through 5 on the financial aid package on page 28.
Mr. McCarty?
Aye.
Mr. Chavez?
Aye.
Mr. Kim?
Aye.
Mr. O'Donnell? Mr. Ting?
Now I'd like to add additional wording to restore Cal Grants for students attending private nonprofit institutions to pre-recession levels. Can I get a second?
I'll give you a second. Can you hold on 1 second?
Sure.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, myself, to further increase the Cal Grant awards for students attending private institutions, and certainly understand the merits of it, and not certain that at this time that it makes balances our budget needs, but it's an issue that we can consider in conference committee and so forth. So I will not be supporting this item, but certainly it's an issue that we note for the future. So we have a motion and a second.
Mr. McCarty?
No.
Mr. Chavez?
Yes.
Ms. Kim?
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell? No. Mr. Ting?
No.
Motion fails.
Okay.
Now we go to K-12.
Want to ask for reconsideration?
Could I ask for reconsideration of the private nonprofit institutions to pre-recession level?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Vote clarification on the financial aid package that was approved unanimously. Ms. Kim would like to vote abstention.
Ms. Kim?
Okay. Okay, we will proceed now with part 2 of the agenda, the Prop 98 package. We'll first do the Department of Education package, then the CTC, Commission on Teacher Credentialing package, then the community colleges, then the early education and child care package. So first, the overall Prop 98 package. Certainly, we're proud of what we're able to present to the full budget committee. Our final package here provides $6.3 billion in local control funding formula for our K-12 schools, which is $159.2 million more than the May revision. We assume the higher numbers put forth with the revenue forecast from the LAO. We pay almost $3.4 billion in mandates, 137 more than the May revision. We're able to allocate $400 million for career technical education, with an adjustment on how the monies will go out to districts throughout the state. $500 million for adult education, $64 million for special ed. Certainly pleased we're able to put forth $190 million to focusing on teacher support, professional development programs to help our teachers do well in the classroom. Focusing on $30 million expansion to help further define foster youth services in the LCFF program. And then responding to the need to, after 10 years, finally give an increase to our after-school program, so $50 million for that. So we have a table in the agenda, and it's items 1 through 74. And we're going to take a couple separate votes on this, but before we take the votes on the table, the whole package, Prop 98, Department of Education. Are there any comments or clarification on any of these items? Mr. O'Donnell?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This portion includes the CT funding discussed on this page 4. It was a chart, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, and I have a concern. I'm going to share it today. I'm going to be supportive of this, but I do have some questions as we move forward because we're going from a grant to an ADA formula, and I have some concerns of the overall impact on that, of what that will be. The questions I have in my head today are, will the grants be more impactful than just kind of spreading the money across the land? So I just want to share those concerns, and certainly that'll be a point of conversation as we head forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman,
Mr. Chavez?
I would also very supportive of CTE, but I'm more concerned because I know this is going to have to go to the governor, and we've had this discussion about categoricals and local control funding and the grant transition. So is it appropriate to ask the Department of Finance their opinion on the change of the terminology and how it would be seen? Because I do want this money to be assigned. I don't want it redlined out. Department of Finance?
Ian Johnson, Department of Finance. We share your concern that per the staff's recommendations, this has all the characteristics of a categorical program, which we've said all along since the deal with LCFF was adopted, that save the few categoricals that were left outside of the broader formula, we wouldn't be supporting expanding existing categorical programs or creating new ones, save for providing statutory COLA to the existing programs. We also share the concerns that Assemblymember O'Donnell just shared. We think a per ADA basis does nothing to for innovation of CTE programs or encourage their sustainability. We have concerns without having a local match there for two reasons. One, that locals won't be put in a position to have to invest their own local resources to prioritize these programs, and also that we won't be leveraging their funding. And so we view this proposal as actually taking CTE funding off the table because there isn't a local match requirement there. So we share a lot of the concerns that we've heard with the members, and that's what I can offer you at this point.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just wanted it on the record because this is important, and I won't be in those meetings that go on behind the rooms, but this is important, so thank you.
Okay. Ms. Kim.
Sure, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to lay off on the Proposition 98 package today because it's based on the revenue projections that far exceeds the governor's proposal. This issue should be worked out in conference committee. I would like to ask whether we will be planning prudently as the governor proposes, or will we be committing to spending funds that may not materialize? I believe our local school districts deserve stability rather than promises that may have to be revoked. So as I said, this is an issue that must be worked out, and I hope there will be a robust discussion in the conference committee. But for now, I'm inclined to side with the governor, who proposes a moderate and prudential outlook. So I believe that would certainly encourage greater stability for local planning. So I'll lay off on this.
Okay.
Yeah, except for 933. Okay. I'll make a motion for those.
Sure.
I'd like to make a motion for the Prop 98 package, including the community college package, and I'd like number.
Hold off on the community college.
Okay, excuse me. Then items 9 and 33 through 41 be pulled.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second on the table, items 1 through 74, but hold back items 9 and 33 through 41. Okay. And a second by Mr. Ting. Okay, second by Mr. Ting. And just to note before the vote is on the career tech proposal, certainly we think this will be an issue that will be discussed in conference committee. I know the Senate is holding back on this too, but we heard loud and clear from districts throughout the process that this is a program and effort that should be available to all California students, and we want to make sure that while we're picking winners, we're not picking losers as well, that everybody throughout California will have the opportunity to participate in career tech. So this debate will live another day, but we'll go forward today. So a motion and a second on those items. Please call the roll.
McCarty?
Aye.
Chavez?
Aye.
Kim?
Not voting.
Kim not voting. O'Donnell? Aye. Ting?
Aye.
Has 4.
Okay. Now we need a motion on item 9 and related to item number 9 and items 33 through 41 from the table.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Motion and second. Please call the roll.
McCarty?
Aye.
Chavez?
No.
Kim?
No.
O'Donnell? Aye. Ting?
Aye.
Has 3.
Now we do the community college.
Okay. Thank you.
Since we thought it was all going to be part of it.
Yeah.
Let me let you know.
Okay. Next, the Prop 98 package related to the Commission on Teacher Credentialing. The first motion I'm looking for is the spring finance letter, along with a summary of the January and May proposals articulated in the table items 1 through 6, and we're going to hold back the state operations piece for a second motion. And the spring finance letter is related to CDE as well as CTC.
I move approval of that with the holding out the state ops for a later vote.
I second that.
Okay, motion a second.
Okay. McCarty?
Aye.
Chavez?
Aye.
Kim?
Aye.
O'Donnell? Ting? Has 5.
Okay. Thank you. Now I'm looking for a motion on the CTC piece related to CDE state operations, or not CDE, it's not CTC, CDE state operations.
Right.
Which items are those?
It's a catch-all item.
It-
It conforms to the issues in the table.
It's a catch-all item related to issues in the table. It's the state operations, the 6 positions at CDE.
And other positions, yeah. It's included at the top of page 36.
Top of page 36. Move approval of move approval of the contents of the spring finance letter into the CDE state operations request.
We're looking for just the CDE state operations request. The prior one was in that motion a second ago. Okay, so moved? Second? Please call the roll.
McCarty?
Aye.
Chavez?
No.
Kim?
No.
O'Donnell? Ting? Has 3.
Okay. Thank you. Next, we will go to the Prop 98 Community College package.
There you go.
Why would you want me to oppose it?
For all this down here. And because it conforms to the higher.
Yeah. Yeah. I was joking.
Okay. Next is the Prop 98 Community College package. Some of the highlights include certainly as part of the huge increase in Prop 98, we have the opportunity to reinvest in our community college system. with roughly $1.5 billion and allowing us to support 3% enrollment growth system-wide, launching new programs to provide financial aid for needy community college students, reforming remedial education through the governor's basic skills proposal, and increase some of the categorical programs that have been really hurt during the Great Recession, never had a chance to rebound, including EOP&S, part-time faculty hours, and programs for CalWORKs recipients. Looking for a motion on this package.
Move approval of the community college package.
Okay, a motion by Mr. Chavez, second by Mr. Ting. Please call the roll on this.
May I say something
Yes,
for the
Member
record?
Kim.
Yeah, for the community college package, I have the same concerns about promising more than the state may receive in revenue, so I am going to lay off on this community college package as well.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. McCarty?
Aye.
Mr. Chavez? Aye. Ms. Kim?
Not voting.
Mr. O'Donnell? Aye. Mr. Ting?
Okay, thank you. The last item is the early child education and preschool and child care package. And we will wait a few seconds for this. Okay, last but certainly not least is our package on early education and child development. This is certainly something that the Assembly subcommittee put plenty of thought to, and certainly pleased to present a comprehensive package projected to peg out at a little north of $600 million to help restore funding for this really important program to help our young kids get ready for kindergarten and succeed in life. And certainly in the agenda outlines it, but part of this package is increasing preschool full-day slots with wraparound care by 10,500 slots, provide a 20% increase to the state reimbursement rate for center-based care, as well as as an increase for the voucher child care systems in California, expand alternative payment slots by 10,000, and provide further investments to improve quality and access to state early education programs in California. Any discussion on this item, or would anybody like to put forward a motion? Okay, motion and a second. Mr. Chavez?
Yeah, as you stated, we discussed this quite a bit, and as you and I have talked personally about this, I really think that this is looking at the challenges we have in California with our families. Early cognitive development of children is extremely important. To me, when you look at the entire budget we're doing for education, considering that 90% of the cognitive development of child's in the first 5 years, and we're putting such a small amount of money, doesn't seem appropriate. I would like to highlight what I think is good about this, the quality rating improvement systems. I think that's extremely important, emphasis on the word quality. Establish a community college having a professional development consortium to add more professionalism and make this not, as a lot of people think, as a daycare program, but actually a quality program of professionals meeting the cognitive development of children. And also the $25 million in local professional development opportunities for early care and educational providers. This last Saturday, I attended an event in my district focused strictly on this in the city of Vista, with speaking to child care providers, and as they said, early cognitive development providers. Is extremely important. However, there's one item in this bill that they've actually, and looking at how we do it in my district, is that it's a partnership between nonprofits and the school districts in providing this at the schools. One of the things they were concerned about, that I have a concern is the trailer language to extend collective bargaining process to the family child care providers. I would like to support this and ask that that separate portion be pulled aside so I could vote against it. But I will be making the motion that this is an extremely important thing, and I support it.
Okay. So I'm pleased that you support the entire package, and I know you're really serious about wanting California to invest in that. And I will second your motion that we vote on the entire package except for that language relating to collective bargaining. We'll have a subsequent vote on that piece. So a motion, a second on the entire package, absent that piece on collective bargaining.
Mr. McCarty?
Aye.
Mr. Chavez?
Aye.
Ms. Kim?
Not voting.
Mr. O'Donnell? Mr. Ting?
Okay.
I'd like to move to approve collective bargaining item.
Okay, motion, a second on the language related to collective bargaining. Please call the roll.
Mr. McCarty?
Aye.
Mr. Chavez?
No.
Ms. Kim?
No.
Mr. O'Donnell? Mr. Ting?
Chair, before we leave, I would
sir.
just like to make a comment. I've been here 3 years doing this, and I just want to recognize your real leadership in this. I think probably did 50 hours up here, but as you know, a lot of us did a lot of hours outside of this place. And I think because we had that discussion, we were able to do this as quickly as we did because this panel really spent a lot of work on it. So that's under your leadership, and I'd just like to recognize you for that. So great job, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Ting?
I just wanted to echo Mr. Chavez's comments. I've been here along with Mr. Chavez for 3 years now. It's one of my favorite committees. I want to thank you for your work, but also in particular the two consultants, Mark and Nicole, but also Ms. Hardiman, who unfortunately fortunately couldn't be here with us, and for their wonderful work. Again, I couldn't vote for the UC portion of the budget. I didn't make a comment, so I'll make my comment now, simply because I didn't think they demonstrated to me the analysis and the rigor to continue to justify the expenditures. As a UC grad, that was fairly painful for me because I've always been very supportive of additional UC funding. But I think I would continue to want to see more data information from the university to really justify all the costs. Quite often, especially now that the times are a little bit better, we have so many folks asking for more money, and every single request about more money. But I think we need to continue to rigorously push them on justifying their additional expenses, and in particular to make sure that we're limiting out-of-state students. At the same time, we're making sure that there's room for California students at not only the less preferable UCs, but really at the most competitive UCs as well, whether that's UC Berkeley, UCLA, UC San Diego, which we've seen the highest growth in out-of-state students. So that today is really why I couldn't go up on the UC portion of the budget. So, but again, I wanted to thank the committee, agree with Mr. Chavez. We spent a lot of time here really delving into a lot of issues. It's also exciting to see LCFF really move forward and also really take shape. And I think really looking forward to the rest of the budget discussion, but also to next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. O'Donnell?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Okay. Ms. Kim?
I feel compelled to say something since everyone is saying something. I haven't been here as long as the other two members have, but as the same class coming in with our chair, Kevin McCarthy, I do want to commend your leadership on this subcommittee, and I enjoyed working through the process. My abstention on some of these votes, I hope you understand where I'm coming from, and I know all these issues will be worked out in the conference committee, as I stated, and I think that, I trust that our full budget committee will do its work, and please know that we are here to support the public institutions, and we're all here because we care about our education, and in the state of California, we should really be proud of what we are offering to our students, and I think we're doing that we're demonstrating it. And I want to make sure that you all understand we're fighting the good fight on your behalf. We may not all agree on all these issues, but I just wanted to echo the comments that have been made here on this dais along, with everybody here. It's been a pleasure working with you, and I look forward to continuing this process.
Can I say round two? Real
Yes,
quick?
Mr. Chavez.
And I also got to mention this for everybody out there. At about 2 or 3 in the morning, I get these emails from Amy Rushhour, the lady to my left, and Bob Becker. And so honestly, we're out there meeting people in the early evening. Then we go home and sleep, and then at 2 or 3 in the morning, you get a ping, and this is what's going on. The work of the staff, because we're so short-staffed over there, just amazing. So I want to publicly thank both of these two great professionals. So thank you.
Okay, while we're at it, I wanted to thank certainly our staff as well, and also wanted to recognize the Department of Finance and LAO and all the advocates who helped provide insight on some of these issues. And, just kind of a big picture, I think that all of us up here, plus frankly probably the legislature, ran for office to help to try to further invest in our education system, our young people, and make smart investments with our California government. And so certainly feel very fortunate that this year we're able to do that. And looking back on a couple years ago, some of the folks that came in 2010 had to cut $25 billion in their first couple weeks of office and decimate education programs. And so we take this opportunity seriously to try to make prudent investments and to make sure they're sustainable. And I'm not sure if we'll see an opportunity next year to invest $16 billion again in K-12 and early education and higher ed, but certainly we try to put forward a package this year which is responsible. It also helps us grow our economy and help create more opportunities for everybody in the state of California. So with that, we will push this forward package to the full budget committee, and thank everybody for participating this year, including the members, and we are adjourned.